The Sony numbers are here. We finally know what is going on with the Sony brand in terms of sales. This happened about a week after the Xbox numbers, so I did the Xbox video yesterday. But some big news here. PlayStation is really focusing in on PC sales, and we're going to go over all of it right now. And of course, they are just shattering records. It's really exciting time just for all of gaming. Congrats, Sony, on another phenomenal quarter. Let's get into some of these numbers. Before we do, if you like these sort of videos, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when these videos go live. And thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed so far. So let's get into it. The first thing being first, Sony is making their way into the PC market more than ever. They formed actually PlayStation PC, and I believe this image is just like a mock-up somebody made. It's not an actual logo or anything. Label registration is seemingly another sign that PlayStation intends to take PC seriously. I would actually argue that PlayStation has already taken PC very seriously, but they're starting to realize just how much money they're leaving on the table by not releasing on PC maybe a little bit sooner. They've been criticized by Xbox actually for what is referred to, Xbox's Phil Spencer, what he refers to as double dipping, where they release a full game on PlayStation 5 and then a year or two later they release the full game again on PC for $40 or $50. And well, I mean, that's a criticism from Phil Spencer because Xbox just releases it on console and PC at the same time. And if you buy one copy of the game, you have access to it in both places. I think that's sort of an interesting conversation, actually, to have as a consumer. Obviously, what Xbox is doing is amazingly pro-consumer, but do we love what Sony is doing with PC? You obviously get all the advantages of PC, and it does require additional development time for them. Hopefully this PlayStation PC push adjusts that initiative. Let's read a little bit more here. Platform holders' PC releases had their publisher switch to PlayStation PC LLC from the previous PlayStation Mobile label. According to a corporation wiki listing, Sony Interactive Entertainment registered the PlayStation PC name in April of this year via the California headquarters, so basically in the backyard here at the Ligari residence. Sony's first modern PC ports were Horizon Zero Dawn in August 2020 and Days Gone this May. This is from VideoGamesChronicle.com. We know Uncharted 4 is coming. Sackboy: A Big Adventure may be coming to PC also. And PlayStation has talked about bringing more games to the PC market. Now, for me, and I think for most level-headed, logical gamers, this is a great thing. More people are going to get to play the phenomenal Sony games on more devices meaning PCs. And I think that is great. Remember what he said is, we find ourselves now in early 2021 with our development studios and the games that they make in better shape than they've ever been before, particularly from the latter half of the PS4 cycle. Our studios made some wonderful, great games. There's an opportunity to expose those great games to a wider audience and recognize the economics of game development, which are not always straightforward. The cost of making games goes up with each cycle as the caliber of the IP has improved. Now, the reason I started with the PC story is because this is obviously a contentious, for some reason, story for a lot of Sony fans who believe in the sanctity, or whatever you want to call it, of only releasing the games on the PlayStation console. It's a strategy that has worked for Sony. It's made a lot of console loyalists very happy. But for a large majority of players, they just want to play where they want to play, that being PC. And I mean, this is growing with the times on Sony's part. I think it's a good thing. And I think this is just the organic growth period for the company where they're saying, well, look, Xbox is releasing on PC. They're kind of eating our lunch over there. Separately, we've released a few games on PC now. Look at how well it's doing for us. We need to do better on this and do it more often. So they're finally getting in on the action, so to speak. I think it's tremendously smart. I think anybody who thinks about it understand, like any Sony investor is going to be happy that those games are coming out on PC. The PlayStation 5 isn't going to suffer in sales, as we'll see here in a second. So let's go over the numbers. Now, first of all, they are on pace to sell 20 million consoles. And the first place I saw the numbers was from Roberto Serrano, so I'll be using him for the analytics. And basically, he just went through and he screenshotted the presentation, which you can probably find. Yeah, here, he even links out to it right here. You can find the full presentation here, but some of the notable points that he pointed out were quite interesting. So Sony says they're on track to sell 14.8 million consoles this year. They should hit the 20 million goal quite easily. I believe they're at 13.4 million PS5 units sold, which is, it's insane. That's I believe that's just this year. Some of the notable analytics in here for me were PS4 hardware sales fell super fast. They only sold 0.2 million units, or I guess that's 200,000 units, right? First party sales were low this quarter, the lowest in a year. It's still 7.6 million copies. And the other thing that was a little interesting to me, and these numbers, actually, I have some thoughts here because I talked with a colleague, and she thought that it was actually quite easily explained. So PlayStation Plus monthly active users are also way down comparatively on PlayStation. 104 monthly active users is the lowest point this far this year, and PlayStation Plus subscribers are up, however. So few things to dive into there. So PlayStation Plus subscribers took a dip of about 1 million, I believe it was in the previous quarter. Now they've more than bounced back. They bounced back like 2 million plus. So not only did they make up that deficit, but they bounced back. So PlayStation Plus subscribers are up. Game sales are way up. So to me, it was super weird. Like, why would your monthly active users be at the lowest point in like 4 quarters? Let me find that specific slide here, because to me it just, the numbers didn't really make sense. They're breaking records in hardware sales. They're still selling PlayStation 4s, although that has fallen off a cliff quite quickly. You can see here 0.2 million PS4 sold. Meanwhile, 3.3 million PlayStation 5 sold. The PlayStation 5 is the hot stuff right now, so to speak. And if you look at the sales, like PlayStation 4, for the financial year, they sold 5.7. You look over year, it's drastically low. And the reason that's surprising to me is because in these other areas of the world where maybe you can't get the newer console because it's just astronomically expensive, I would imagine that the PlayStation 4 would be pretty enticing, especially as for the next year. Well, I believe next year they're going to start releasing next gen only for PlayStation 5. But I mean, you got a really large library for the PlayStation 4. So to see it so low, I think they're just not available. And I have to wonder if Sony is using that inventory to somehow make more PlayStation 5s, which is smart if that's what they're doing. A bunch of numbers about, they did amazingly well in terms of sales. So if you look at 2.9 million yen, $2.1 million, and they're on track to like just absolutely shatter records. It's really, really cool, honestly. Just give me a second. Sorry for this one. Yeah, so here we go. So hardware sales are doing awesome. Software sales also doing awesome. It looks like they've sold, just doing some quick math, almost 700,000 copies of games. So they're probably at least at the halfway point to matching what they did in game software last year. Physical software, obviously on the lower side compared to digital software. Most consumers are buying digitally these days. PlayStation Plus, here we go. PlayStation Plus subscribers, 47.2 million. That's up 2.8 million year over year. And if you look down here, so PlayStation Plus, 47.2, that is a very, very high number. They've been really fluctuating. They're at 45 million users. And this is why I love Sony reports, honestly, because we can just look at the numbers and be like, well, what's going on here, and think about things. And it's why I don't like that Xbox numbers are so clouded, because I don't know, you kind of just don't really get to think about too much about what they're doing. They've spun everything to be positive, even though a lot of us have questions about like Game Pass profitability and such. It's an interesting topic that we don't get more insight on because of how they present their numbers. Here's Sony though. Here's like every number that you could possibly be interested in, and they all have it right here for you. So basically, you look at monthly active users. It's up. It's up 2.2 million from Q1 at least, and like still up astronomically from Q2, but they've been fluctuating in the 47 million range for a while. In Q3, 47.4, Q4 last year, 47.6. Then they saw a massive dip to 46.3 and 47.2. I wonder if just for PlayStation Plus, they're sort of at a saturation point where they're going to just hover around this 47 million number for some time. But the weird thing is, and it's because it's contrasting data here, you're selling amazingly well on your game software. They sold 1.594, million copies of things last year. Software sales are doing great. Software, 76.4 million units. It's down 6% year over year, but they released fewer games. But then you see monthly active users is at the lowest point it has been ever. Like, at least for these two financial reports for financial year 2020 and 2021, that has to just coincide with the fact that they released fewer things. And it was just sort of an interesting thing. And I'm not trying to spin it as a negative. I truly don't understand why your software sales would be just crushing it, but then your monthly active users are down. It's strange to me, and I don't get it. So I was trying to ask, who did I ask? I asked Benji. I was like, why do you think like PlayStation subs bounce back and then some? So not only are more people subscribing to PlayStation Plus, but you're selling games incredibly well, but then your monthly active users are at a low point. And I was surprised to see first party sales down, but I talked to my colleague, Rebecca Valentine over at IGN about like, why do you think first party sales are down? And she had a great thought there. So Benji said, yeah, that one's somewhat negative in the results here. And I'd say where first party sales, this was the lowest quarter for first-party sales in over a year for PlayStation. They said there wasn't really any big releases for them this quarter, so it was mostly just laggy sales. And thinking on the whole first-party issue, I think what it was that, let me see here. Yeah, decrease in first-party sales. They even outline it for Q2 financial year 2021. I believe the decrease in sales for first-party titles was because, if you remember, the only games that they really released were the Ghost of Tsushima, which is a re-release, which you can upgrade for a lower cost. So, yeah, you're paying less for that game just through and through. And then Death Stranding, which is not considered first-party. So, yes, they've had amazing games launched in the year, but the fact that you can upgrade for less money and naturally just the tapering off of the sales of major games like Ratchet and Clank from the beginning of the year would result in a decrease in first-party sales. So that one actually made sense. Maybe you have some thoughts onto why monthly active users are down, though, because they're getting the same third-party games everybody else is getting. It was one data point where I don't understand why their monthly active users are down. It doesn't make any sense to me because everything else is great. So to recap, let's talk about the positive stuff. And we can just bring up the Benji asset again. They shipped 3.3 million units, reached 13.4 million lifetime. The PlayStation 5 console is selling astronomically well. 76.4 million units of software. So software is selling through the roof. 7.6 million first-party games. Of course, first-party games selling lower because they just didn't really release anything that quarter. And I think we're going to continue to see first-party sales be lower. Maybe those numbers will bounce back throughout the year, though. We'll see. Digital full game software ratio, 62%. So basically what they're saying is more people are buying digital than ever before. That is just something that's going to continue. 47.2 million PlayStation Plus subscribers. Big bounce back there. And lowest point on monthly active users for whatever reason. That's the one that really, I just don't get it. Like, you're releasing more games than ever before. You've sold more consoles than ever before. You're even still selling PS4s. You have like a user base of 150 million people. Why are your monthly active users so low? I don't get it. I truly don't. I'm not even trying to make that a dig. I'm truly just trying to wrap my brain around it. Maybe you have some thoughts. Anyway, I'm not harping on them. Sony is having a tremendously successful quarter. That's great. I did the Xbox story yesterday. Xbox is having a tremendously successful quarter. I think we're going to get a lot more reports like this. I'm just a curious person, and I'm really curious why that would have happened. So maybe you have some thoughts and you can enlighten me in the comments below. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like these sort of videos, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when they go live. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed this far. If you want to support this channel, memberships are turned on. Thank you so much to everybody who has said, hey, Destin, I want to support you. If you want to become a member, you can click that join button. It is right down there. I try and time it out with when the arrow clicks on the screen. Thank you to all the members. Again, I am going to get out of here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now, everybody.